So, for those of us who do not know who are you and what do you do?
My name is Spida Crazy 8. I wear, as y'all can see, I wear crazy hats. And people call me a man of many hats. I'm a promoter. I make music. I work for Kiss 105.3. I throw shows. I manage artists. A lot of music related things. A lot of people like to call me the dot connector. Pretty much anything and everything that you need musically, I can make happen. I'm connected way outside of just like even the hip hop scene. I work with people who played the guitar. I work with Anthony Ball. He's a pretty big name. The Funk Factory. He has a music depot that he runs, and I've worked with him. He plays the drum. So basically, I would like to say just an industry guy. I'm an industry person. Anything and everything music industry wise, I can kind of like help you get into the right direction.
Where are you from?
Originally from Mississippi. The country is part of it too, baby. You know what I'm saying? Lorman, Mississippi. We call it Red Lick. That's what we call it. It's so crazy. I had a group of guys who came from where I'm from actually to be in our summer jam. But it's a country part. My granddaddy owned the only store that was down there. He had a baseball field. And I moved to Vicksburg, Mississippi, and that's where like I grew up mostly and learned a lot about life, and then found my way all the way up here to Arkansas.
What was it like growing up there in Mississippi?
Man, I so basically not knowing anything else about life, it was it was it was everything that a kid who grew up in the city was to me because I felt like that was the only thing that was going on. Jumping on haystacks, getting stung by bees, running into running on rock roads and watching my cousins and them race horses. I thought that was just life, until I moved to Vicksburg, where there's these big old buildings and things like that, different places that you can go out and eat, McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it wasn't until I moved to a different city where I recognized that it was country, like, and what country really was. But at the time of me living there, it was just home. That's what it was, and that's the best place to describe it. Best way to describe it as home. Carefree. There's so many things that you don't think about or care about when you live in there. Like just going outside and running and picking flowers and chasing grasshoppers was just as cool as just going to like the gym.
Tell us the reason why you moved to Arkansas from Mississippi.
Opportunity. Where I'm from, like it's pretty dangerous. Not saying that I was involved with a lot of dangerous people or things like that. But the truth of the matter is, innocent people get caught up in things too. Your friend may be in something, and you ended up getting involved in it where I'm from, and so but I was always taught to work, get a job. Mom, instilled that in me real well. So I was I mainly moved because of job opportunity. I started working before I got my GED, and so therefore, like I was always accustomed to having a job. Like as soon as I got out of high school or my like I said my GED, I had a job, and I ended up losing my job, and I tried to get another job basically in the same type of way or something like that, and I found out, like you said, I was still a kid, that it ain't easy to get a job as you think, and I had bills and stuff, and it kind of got me down to where I felt like I couldn't be who I really wanted to be. So I left there for better opportunities. My homeboy Ignatius, he used to live in Mississippi. He had already moved to Arkansas, so he kept on telling me about it for a while. He kept on trying to get me to come up here, and I was just like, nah, man, I ain't leaving. And then finally one day I called him. It's like, hey, man, I'm really to make it happen. And he was like, are you for real? I said yes. He came pick me up, and I really haven't really been back to Mississippi a lot since then. I go down there. I went down there for my mom's vow renewals and maybe a funeral here and there, but I haven't really went back.
When I first met you, you were a rapper,
Mm.
a pretty notable rapper in the local scene.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know, when did you start rapping? Was it back when you was home in Mississippi, or was it here when you got here, looking at the local scene, and you having friends in the local scene as well? Did you start here, or did that love or that passion for music start in Mississippi?
So the love for music was started in Mississippi, but not for being a creator of music. I enjoyed all types of music, and still being like a kid or whatnot, being like so like boxed in, not understanding how much I really liked music. I just thought everybody liked music the way that I did, because the way that I listened to it, I wouldn't think that nobody else listened to it differently. Like, why would you only listen to rap music when it's MTV and everything out here? So I just thought everybody listened to it and liked it, and was able to recite the words from their favorite rappers or musicians the way that I could. So I knew that's, but I didn't know that until I started making music when I was in Arkansas, that was a special thing. So I started here as far as like being a creator of music, but it started as a management thing. I didn't really truly understand music scenes and things like that when I started as well. I thought you rap and you rap to become famous, not to get people locally to know you. So I think that was the furthest thing from my mind at the time. So my friend TJ Andrews, he had a group called Flow Gang, and I was the manager of the Flow Gang. And like, still in that point, I wasn't trying to be the creator of it. I was trying to push it. I knew what music should sound like. I knew marketing things based off me paying attention to, what's going on TV and things like that, they can implement into their strategy to help blow them up. But still, I wasn't doing it for them guys to be famously known in Northwest Arkansas. I was looking at them like, these guys can actually be the guys that we're seeing on TV. And I think that also is something that is different when it comes to like the way I approach things versus everybody else.
So you were with Flow Gang
Hmm.
at first. When did you branch off, and what was the reasoning behind you branching off and doing your own thing? Because you started your own group.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that.
Um, I a lot of that was arrogance. I can admit that now. TJ, he knowing what I know about certain people that I've worked with, I felt like TJ was the first person that I kind of started feeling myself too much towards. Like he took me on his wing and put me in a situation where a lot of people did know Spida for whatever Spida wanted to be, and it was a big thing for him to do that for me, given to the fact of his popularity from playing basketball and just being who he is, and nice people like TJ. And so I kind of got into understanding the music scene, actually understanding who lives in Fayetteville, who lives in Springdale, and they recognizing me because I was just dropping music. Like, when I started doing music, I kept on dropping it like I was trying to blow up big, not trying to impress anybody here. But what eventually happened was the music scene caught hold to it before I actually blew up. And then I it's like, oh damn, these people around here would actually listen to me. They would actually come to my shows. They would actually talk to me. And once that had happened, I felt like that was the reason why I broke apart, because I took note of how much I can progress with that. And I don't think me and TJ really looked at it the same way. TJ still had the mindset of blowing up. He actually had started making a rock band, and not to say he had anything to do with it at all. Really, truthfully, it was really a mutual thing that was good for us both. Because we ultimately always still came together and did different things together. I helped him out with shows, but I think it was that I got a hold to what the real local scene was, and like, it made me feel bigger than what I ever had felt before. And like, maybe I jumped off the porch a little too quick, but if I was to go back, I wouldn't change anything.
How do you feel Well, how did you feel then about the local hip hop and rap scene compared to how you feel about it today?
Um, I didn't. I used to tell people that I rapped, and they used to laugh. I felt like it was a situation where like people liked music and they cared about it. They just didn't have any hope that it can actually happen. Somebody from Northwest Arkansas actually being a good rapper wasn't something that resonated here. Like, oh, even, you know, and that's kind of like what I was like thinking. Like, if you rap, you you should. It's 100 different things that you could be that's better that you could be doing with your life. Versus now, I feel like, and I don't think that it's all centered around music. I think it's just entrepreneurship. I feel like everybody had at a certain point it exploded to where everybody felt like they can do something. Whether you're a rapper, whether you want to sell merch, whether you want to print CDs, whether you want to be the producer, whether you want to be the guy that's mixing and mastering and starting the studio. I felt like all of that contribute to the change which it is today. Ultimately, whether people like it or not, it's a pretty decent music scene compared to ones that are in other areas. And then another thing that wasn't present that when I started that's here now is the radio stations, JJ's Live, George's. It wasn't saying that they wasn't doing the hip hop, but it wasn't a lot. They still don't do a lot of it, but like they do it and they're open to it. And Walmart Amp, I wasn't, like I said, I was so caught up in just like trying to blow up. I wasn't even paying attention to what Walmart Amp was probably even doing that, because it wasn't necessarily ever benefiting the music scene here. So right now, I think that with certain doors that's been open, we've been able to make all of it look like it's a part of the same thing. When 21 Savage came to Fayetteville, we felt like 21 Savage came to Fayetteville's music scene because now we've added all these key pieces to everything, and it makes it seem like that. But if that's the biggest difference though. Like everything seems like it's a part of each other.
You've been working with artists for years now. What do you think is the number one thing that's holding artists back from getting recognized around the local area and also nationally?
I don't feel like anything is holding any artist back from being recognized. I think the thought of the fact that you need something to be recognized is what's holding themselves back. Like I don't I don't have to do you don't have to do anything. You don't have to give me anything. Any like all you have to do is post something that is eye catching on the internet for me to be able to recognize who you are, and that's any given day. Tomorrow, somebody can wake up and be like and just go and rap a song that first time ever on Dixon Street and post it to the internet, and like I'll be able to recognize exactly who that guy is from here on out. Are you the guy that I just saw on the internet that was just doing a live performance on Dixon Street while cars was driving by? And I feel like that is the thing that they're just missing. But more so believing in themselves, believing that they can make it happen. Um, Financial things too. Like you need money. Like I think the old school mentality that you blow up, you get this diamond chain, you get $1 million contract is not the idea of what is going on in the music industry anymore. And therefore, like if a rapper don't feel like that's something it's finna happen, they don't feel like they're being recognized, and that's not true.
Like you said at the beginning of the interview, you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
You've worn a lot of hats over the years. I mean, you're a promoter, you're a manager, you're a interviewer, you interview famous artists, you interview local artists, you work with independent labels, you've worked with the radio station, you even tried acting before. I don't know if a lot of people know that about you.
They may not. They may not. That was one of the ones there. Yeah. Yeah.
My question is, which of those roles do you enjoy the most and which of them do you not enjoy?
I enjoy the most being an artist. That's the most. I think truthfully, hosting. Not even the hosting of the shows. The hosting of the shows is, although it's real fun, it's cool. Actually putting together the show, and it's at first they called it like the operational guy of the show, like running the show. Like you be here, you be there. This needs to go on. This guy needs to go on at that time. I enjoyed it a lot, and making music. The least one that I don't like is interviewing famous people because it's a lot of thing that goes into it that I don't feel like should, but I do still understand why it has to be that way. For example, like based off of artist campaign, you can't ask certain questions. Well, it's like I don't really want to interview if I can't ask you this question. Well, I mean, we'll figure something out. I had interviewed Maya, and huge, big, one of the biggest deals that I felt like I could have gotten in my career, especially as a guy who's interviewing someone. And I get to her, I asked her, what's is it an R&B artist in today's music that you would like to collab with? And she said she cannot answer that question. And it hurt my feelings because it's like, okay, I knew that was going to be the one that I posted to the internet that was going to get a great response. And it made me dislike it. I haven't interviewed another celebrity since, right? Because I feel like I'm not able to be the interviewer that I wanted to. But on the other note, I could just get somebody that's real cool, like I did with Kevin Gates, that had absolutely no question, no problem with what I had to ask, and it's still to this day on YouTube is getting a great response.
How do you manage all of those roles?
Oh, I like to tell people I don't. It's a bunch of chaos going on at the same time that I improvise very well with. I and sometimes I wake up and I forget that I got an interview, just like you'll wake up and you forget that you're supposed to go to the store at 12. It happens, and but I improvise very well. I communicate very well. I'm a dope people person. I don't overpromise, and so therefore when it's mistakes made, I can make up for something else, especially with having so many hats. So say me and you have a miscommunication when it comes to the show that I have you on, and or like because shows are subject to change. So say like I don't even get you on stage tonight, you're mad at me, and I know you are, and whatever. But I had a bunch of stuff going on that I had to execute. You trying your best to understand. Well, hey man, tomorrow let's do an interview. It kind of like helps me manage everything. So with everything being music related, it helps me manage anything that I mess up on. So if I can't get to the studio tomorrow or I can't get you on a song, I can interview you. If I, and that's kind of like the best way to say how it's all being able to be managed. Everything complements itself. So when something malfunctions, this is making sure it's good. It's like the what's it called, the radiator and the battery. If one is messing up, now you gotta change one of them out when you gonna have to fix it, but it can keep it going, and that's the perfect way to say it.
I've had the pleasure to watch you grow your family over the years since I've been knowing you. I've been knowing you for probably more than a decade now,
Yeah.
about 12 years.
Yes.
I'm curious to know, how do you manage doing the work that you do in the local community and being a good father at the same time? How do you manage those two?
Um, I would like to say that I have to get better at it because I'm obsessed. I'm crazy when it comes to like um doing the music because I have this vision that I haven't quite accomplished yet. And so I would say the best way I manage it is my wife. My wife is my manager of those things. Artavius, we need to go to your son got a game today. Oh, I bet. She always reminding me, even when she hates it, it's her pet peeve to repeat herself. But she has done a great job at being like um extremely patient with me, and and being like just a superstar mom. That's how I do it. She's like my mom too, almost. And she's helping me being the best dad that I can be while helping us grow our brand for our kids in the future. I couldn't do it without her, and that's it. That's the answer.
The position that you have being a focal point, if you will, in the local area, I would imagine that that position comes with a lot of negativity.
Yes, sir.
How do you manage that negativity? Because I know that a lot of people expect things from you, and you
Right.
touched on that before.
hmm
How do you manage the negativity?
Um, I I tried. I It's took a lot. It took a lot of growth. It's the one of the weirdest things about it is people that used to be my competition, people who looked at me more as a peer or just a regular guy. Dealing with them is hard, and that's a whole different thing. And dealing with people who are new that had certain expectations that they didn't quite get based off it's just not working for them like it worked for somebody else. Um, the best way I deal with it is even if you were like hot, super mad, hate me, talking bad about me, my wife, kids, everything. I try to call you in and try to at least understand exactly what it is that you're upset with, and then and I try to keep it at a I don't really. I'm not calling you to fight with you, bro. Yeah, I mean, this absolutely that's not gonna do anything for me. I don't know who's watching my Instagram and Facebook. So what I'm gonna do is, if we can't talk, I'm gonna block you, and you don't exist to me ever again in life. And there's no unblocking, none of that. Like we can talk business, and it's just not gonna be where you can say anything, tag me anything, put me or bring the negative to my face. As long as it's not in my face, and I know for a fact myself that I reached out to you to talk to you about it, and because you was upset at the time, whatever it may be, and you didn't want to talk, that was my chance. My conscience is cleared. I asked you what it was because I truthfully know I'm not the best at everything yet. I wear too many hats. I have to learn how to do everything. So if you mad at me for something that I could have did better and you can't express it calmly like a lot of people can, a lot of people can't express themselves well. A lot of people first thing to do is be negative, even if they love you, even if they care about you. And I like to approach it like that. Bro, I didn't do this is what I say. You don't really know me. You don't know nothing about me. I don't hang out with you. I didn't steal no money from you. I didn't cuss your mama out. I didn't do none of the things that you truthfully feeling like you're mad about and what you be mad at other people about. I'm a guy who you just didn't quite get something for him or the way that you want to, or we had a disagreement. So therefore, there ain't nothing that we can't work out, fam. I ain't did nothing to you. And so if I can't do that with you from the jump, ain't nothing that we gonna ever be able to do to work with each other. You gonna hate me and you gonna feel like I hate you. And that's just what it is. Let's just block each other and move on. Let me find somebody else to replace or fill whatever void that you were feeling at that time.
Does your position take a toll on you, or do you thrive in it?
Yes. I thrive in it because just like I was saying about the many hats, I'm an expert at improvising. If say right now, you was to, you know, ask me a question that you shouldn't be asking me. You know what I'm saying? Because interviewers have done that. I already thought 100 different ways on how to answer that question the right way. And so, like for example, I got asked a question about a person that I had an altercation with that I don't like, and they don't like me. But my answer was it was my fault. I was the reason why the things that I could have done better, and that's how and because of me being able to be so quick on my feet with responding and handling situations, it's also a challenge to me. I'm ready for those things at all time because I'm practicing them 24/7. Like it's gonna be stuff that you got to be just flat out ready for, and I figured that out a long time based off just regular life stuff, and I apply those same things to this music industry. Somebody's gonna wake up tomorrow and want to maybe say I'm racist or something. I need to be able to have everything in my book in my mind to be able to prove to them that I'm not, and how absurd this is. And as crazy as it sounds, to be mentally prepared for something like that, you kind of need to, because it's just, imagine like Walmart not being ready for it. You just imagine that, and that's why I say, like, Walmart's like, oh yeah, I knew one of you was coming. I knew one of y'all was coming, and that's how I feel every time somebody try to do something or say something like I'm a bad person, because like I say again, I don't know you, you don't know me. Most of the guys that I did music with, or my friends, they don't come out anymore. Like, even like you, bro. Like, I ain't saying that you won't come out, but it's very seldom. Most TJ doesn't come out. Most of the guys I started this with don't come out. Most of my friends and people that I quote unquote truly will hang out with, we sitting at home taking our kids. So, bro, I ain't did nothing to you. You know what I'm saying?
Who are you trying to become? What are you trying to become? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? And what kind of legacy do you want to leave?
So I'm in a weird place with that, because like, when it's all still, it's a ever going in, like, it's ever changing. When I first started, I wanted to be the greatest rapper in the world, and that went from me like battling people, like talking bad, doing things that required me to be the best rapper in the world. That I felt like at the time, rapping over Kendrick Lamar beats, things like that. Like, I did everything in that. Okay, then it switched from that to being a promoter. It's like, okay, now I want to be the greatest promoter in the world, and in that, I was still able to kind of work on being the greatest rapper in the world. So that created like a brand new thing where it's like, I'll promote, and then I became a host. And it's like, I never knew a host, rapper, and a promoter that was all in one. So it created a different thing. And as far as like the legacy, I felt like because those things transpired already and they've been done at a high level, from me, yeah, me feeling myself talking, saying it, I feel like it's been done at a high level. Um, I feel like the legacy is already there because those things have happened already. Now, the legacy that I want to have, and the one that the thing that I'm trying to be, that I think I need to be, it's like a Birdman or like a Master P. Um, anybody who's this focal point in music, to where like, yeah, if Birdman was to start being a host tomorrow, you're not gonna look at that weird. You're like, okay, this. I mean, Birdman can be a host. Birdman can rap. Birdman can be a manager of a record label. Birdman can be the reason for one of the greatest rappers alive to exist. And so it's a bunch of those guys that's in the industry right now. Jay-Z, this is one that people are not too happy with, but I mean, he did it. Puff Daddy, like, guys like that. I think ultimately what I do become, if I continue on my path and like I work this out and get and keep going hard at it, is I become one of those guys for Arkansas. And I feel like that would be the biggest thing that Arkansas would need, a music industry guy that is big as one of those guys, actually, picking the talent and doing it ourselves.
What is your philosophy in life? Like, how do you go through life dealing with people, um, and trying to do new things in your life? Like, how do you live your life? Do you have any philosophies, anything that you go by, any mantras, anything like that?
I don't, being from my small town Mississippi, I look at it like how we didn't know like ADHD and things like that. I never knew the name for it. I still don't know the name for it, whatever the mindset or the philosophy is. I don't know what to call it. But I do know that I can do anything that I want to do in life. There's nothing that I can't be good at. I feel like all I have to do is practice at it. If I want to be a cameraman tomorrow, by tomorrow or by the end of that week, I'd be one of the best cameramans that's in the area, because I'm gonna do the necessary things to do it. I feel like everything has a formula or a step to it. You just have to do it and stop thinking that it's easy. Everything requires work and hard work. So if like I said, I don't know the name of it, but hard work. hard work at everything. I couldn't play basketball the way that I wanted to play basketball in Arkansas, but I was really good at it in Mississippi because of the simple fact that the level of competition there on the streets were different. I got here, I got crossed over one good time by Shannon Lane. Shannon and even from the way that I was wearing my shoes, I changed my whole thing up, and I became one of like, and I can say I was small and stuff. I ain't gonna say I was crazy good, but I was good enough to play with some of the guys who played high school ball, had great coaching here, because I got into the gym every day after that day in practice to the point where I was able to compete really good. After that, I felt like I could do anything, and that's basically my philosophy. Like you seen, I was able to do some acting. I wanted to acting. I never interviewed a celebrity before I interviewed Kevin Gates. That's what I needed to do that day. Let's go. Just sit down, practice, watch some of his interviews. They do everything that it takes. Do the proper research and work, and you can do it. That's my philosophy. You can do anything.
What would you say to people who don't share the same ideas that you share, or well, in other words, what would you say to people who don't share your philosophy on life, and they're depressed, they unmotivated, don't know really what to do, they think they're failures? What would you say to that person that maybe want to do what you're doing right now?
Uh, and it's one of the things I think I shine with the best because like I don't allow the fact of me having like that philosophy down packed mentally uh to cloud my judgment on somebody. So what I would say to them, or what I would do, for example, is catch them in situations where they're doing it without them knowing, because a lot of people just lack the knowledge of it and don't know. It also helps me be a great teacher and coach because that's where ultimately it is. It's coaching that, and so what I would say to them, uh, I would break it down in simplest terms. Like a lot of people need stuff broken down to them the way that they need it broken down to them, and by me knowing them and not looking at myself bigger than them or trying to actually get what they're putting out, I can process it and talk to them with it differently. Now each person will be different, so it's not one particular thing that I would say. Somebody needs motivation on being a good basketball player. That's very different than telling them that you can be a great rapper. That's two completely different things, which requires like different coaching, if that makes any sense. So that's why I would say like learning them, understanding the task, doing the homework myself, and then applying it to them is how I will help them out and get them to at least start turning the wheel. It's, don't get me wrong, it's a lot more failures in that than it is wins, bro. Not a lot of people can just is ever going to get it, and not to say we give up on those guys. It's still just an understanding that you have to get at a certain point because um, I've tried it with so many different people, and like the thing that you don't recognize is how much it affects you when it doesn't work for them. You know, you see that kid that worked hard every day in the gym and he still didn't make it to the NBA. You don't think about the coaches that really was emotionally attached to that, that really felt like that's the one that they wanted to get there. It takes a toll on you. So recognizing that too, man, is a big deal when it comes to like trying to be anybody, any type of coach, life coach, friend, whatever. That sometimes everybody ain't gonna get it, and you have to be okay with just doing exactly what you need to do and stepping back and watching them make it happen or not.
Given your experience in the local scene, working with local artists, I want to touch on this again. Um, is there a universal blueprint that artists can use to make themselves become successful?
I think that there is a blueprint, but it's also still like what I was speaking on with the coaching. I think it's different for every artist. Now, getting interviews, doing music videos, collabing with big artists, and it's a meta for it, right? You can do the meta. Now, the thing about the meta is it will be, it would. I'm worded the right way. It's like, yes, it's a blueprint. It's something that you can do. Everybody can do to become famous right now, currently, and that doesn't mean anything though in today's world because you can be famous, million followers, and still not really have anything going on. And so, therefore, you do if you even if you do these things, it's going to be a different reaction for every person. So, I think what is going on is the blueprint is available for everybody and it's very easily to be accessed right now. Uh accessed. But the problem is that everybody have the blueprint in their hand, but they're looking at everybody else blue with the blueprint in their hand. Like, why my blueprint ain't doing what his blueprint doing? If something got to be wrong with my blueprint, this ain't the same thing. The words that you put on his ain't the same that you put on this one, or and instead of just reading the blueprint word for what it is, you people aren't doing that. That's the problem with the blueprint. And it's like, okay, the blueprint should say do reels, not how to do reels. That's not what I'm saying. I said do reels. Now, if you want to get further into the blueprint, which would be on page 27, it's gonna say now if you're a rock star or if you're a biker or if you're whatever you're trying to be, your reels need to be like this. And then you go page 56, you might have to do a million reels, bro. You, those the pages in the blueprint that everybody don't want to read, and that's causing the conflict of the blueprint. It's making the blueprint feel it's making the blueprint look like it's not working or is in it's not that it's even outdated. It's making the blueprint look like it's invalid, and that's the case. It is a blueprint. You have to do it, and sometimes like the blueprint takes a little more reading into a bunch of the pages, and then or a lot more reading contrast. You know, like comprehending. Like, do you know what you're actually looking at? If I gave you the blueprint, you know what I'm saying?
So what's next for you? Do you have anything coming up? Any events? Any new music? Anything that you want to tell us about that we haven't touched on today?
I've been making some of the greatest music that I felt like I've been able to make, and it's primarily because like I have stopped writing. And I never did that before. As you know, I come into the studio with like 7 songs written. And you know what I'm saying? I know them all, but I have them all written. And I made some really great music that way. That's back when I was being more of a rapper. Um be you know, I do blame a lot on Mississippi on my lack of knowledge or ignorance. Like I can sing pretty decent. Like I'm not like really good, but I'm good enough to where I can make certain sounds and things with music that I've never been able to experience with because of me not feeling like I can do it. And not having somebody to tell me, hey man, you kind of good at this, you know? And so a lot of the stuff that I was even able to come up with sounds and stuff, they were kind of like, I don't even know how I did it. And so I've learned it now. I know I can go to I haven't done it yet, but I know I can go to take singing lessons, and I want to experiment with that. So I'm very excited with trying to see that and what I can do with manipulating my voice in today's music because as you can tell, there's a lot of singy, rappy type stuff going on, poppy music. So I think I can stand out. I have this dope image that I think people will like it, depending on what I do with it, and actually, you know, just like I said with the basketball, doing some research and actually trying it for real. So I want to actually do that with making these singy type songs. I'm in process of creating the perfect concert slash show for artists. I'm figuring it all out. I do a bunch of free shows. I did merch drops with DJ D Sewell, me and him. We're constantly we're making a blueprint every single day. We've been doing it for like a year and a half now on what is the perfect type of show to host and do from now and the years to come. So that's another exciting thing that I'm working on, and we're trying out a bunch of different things. Listening to feedback, all the artists that oh fuck Spida, whatever. And then I'm listening to that, and I'm going to Darren. Well, hey man, that dude said fuck me because of this, bro, and that was kind of like your idea. We don't need to do that no more. And and like one of the biggest things that's been so exciting about that is understanding that you can't make nobody happy. And that's the worst thing that y'all can ever have me learn from y'all. Cause I do like to make people happy. And so with me understanding that I can give you a free show, I can pay you money for a show, I can give you everything that you want, that you ever talked about, and you can still be mad at me. That's y'all that's really exciting. I'm ready to show y'all all of that I'm ready to get the world that side of Spider. Hey man, look, I did what I need to do for you. You know what I'm saying? Don't be mad at me, baby. You go to blueprint, you go to shows, you go everything that you need. I got it. You where I yeah, like that is super exciting to know that I got the blueprint. I got everything that you need. Everything, and it doesn't matter if you're an artist in Chicago, if you're an artist in Atlanta, because the world is everything. I can post you and everybody can see you. Everybody started coming to my page because of the Kevin Gates interview. But knowing that I have a blueprint that I can go off of, that I can tell you, and I have studied. I've been doing it for X amount of years to the point where like I'm almost an expert at it. Like how many years you got to go to the college to be a doctor, whatever that is. I did that when it comes to this music shit. Yeah, I done it, and like it's exciting to actually be able to go to people and talk to them after dealing with all the negative input and the positive, and actually being what most people think that I'm not, a guy who cares about it all to make the perfect thing happen. That's the most exciting thing that I'm ready for right now.
If people want to get in contact with you, how would they?
I recommend hitting me up on Instagram because I'm always checking Instagram, and it's Spida Crazy 8, Spida Crazy and the number 8. You can find me there. It's a blue check mark. You'll see interviews from major artists and things like that. You can also hit me up on Facebook. I was the first Spider-Verse, Spida verse before the movie and everything too. Y'all make sure you tap in with me on that as well. But those two things, those two forms of contact, I mean, it's damn near like having your number now because you can call me on there. So look, don't blow me up, but you can catch me on that for sure.
Thank you so much for coming.
Man, I appreciate you, man. This was fun. We can do this again, man.